Welcome back to the Sravan Utsav. We are very fortunate today to have His Grace Amarendra Prabhu amongst us. Uh, Actually, who doesn't know about Amarendra Prabhu in ISKCON? But still, I'll give a brief introduction of Prabhuji. Prabhuji has done a Masters of Electrical Engineering from University of Massachusetts in USA. He has done his MBA in IT Management from University of Minnesota, again USA. He has been instrumental in organizing and participating in synthesis of science and religion, and also interfaith harmony under the auspices of Bhaktivedanta Institute. In childhood, Prabhuji has received many gold medals in like 6 consecutive years in inter-school Sanskrit competition. And you can actually see that his Sanskrit, his command on Sanskrit when he speaks, that is actually has started from his childhood. In the 10th standard, he stood second in Mumbai board in Sanskrit language. He used to play chess at state level. He has won numerous trophies in dramatics and script writing. He started preaching at the early age of 12, and he completed Bhakti Shastri at the age of his 19th. At the age of 27, he had already traveled to 75 cities in the world, in India, USA, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Middle East, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia. And he had given talks in spiritual subjects in universities such as MIT, Harvard, and many multinational companies around the world. He's a grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He's a disciple of His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj. And Maharaj instructed Prabhuji in November 2016 to preach Srimad Bhagavatam in English. And since then, Prabhuji is traveling. Before COVID time, he had been traveling and he had been preaching Srimad Bhagavatam. But during now in the COVID time as well, he has been actually online. He's very active and he's coming and enlightening everyone on these wonderful topics. Prabhu is very multi-talented. He has love for the Lord. He's very learned in Shastras. He's eloquent speaker of Shastras.
Hare Krishna.
He sings very melodiously. He plays various musical instruments. He's an excellent actor, very kind. And even after all of this, he's very humble and very friendly. As you can see, it is 4 in the morning for him, and his love for the scriptures and love for the instruction of his Guru Maharaj, he is here to share this knowledge amongst all of us. So let's welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Hare
Hare Hare. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Over to you.
There's actually a secret with respect to New Zealand and 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been practicing this for a long, long time in my life. Because when I was a child, I used to really love cricket. And living in India, when the Indian team used to tour Australia or New Zealand, I had practiced enough waking up 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning just to see the cricket score. So I was thinking that in my when Prabhuji was speaking about this Hari Katha opportunity, Krishna Katha service, one streak in my mind told me, oh, it's too early. And the other streak also justified by saying, well, that's the time to chant. But then very strongly in my mind, I'm using the word mind, not heart, because it's not that heart deep. It's just a flickering thought. The mind did tell me that so many times you woke up in the morning just to see Ricky Ponting bat or just to see India tour New Zealand. But the true test of all that waking up is when we can wake up for Krishna, not for Ricky Ponting and Sachin Tendulkar. So I'm just doing this as a prayashchitta for all the wrong waking ups that I have done in my life. So it's not any taste in Srimad Bhagavatam, but I think if we are all told that at 4 o'clock in the morning, if we go to the airport, a man is standing with a briefcase of, let's say, $1 million. I think everyone here who has value for money, not the others, but those who have value for money will definitely get up. If there's an interview at 4 o'clock in the morning a big multinational company, we will get up. If there's a 10th standard board exam, 10th grade board exam at 8 o'clock, definitely we'll wake up at 4 o'clock. If there's an IIT exam, we will definitely get up. And that's all giving temporary benefit. But by waking up at 4 o'clock and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, this continues according to the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita in my next birth also. So I don't know where I will be born next birth. But this 30-45 minutes invested, hopefully Krishna will give me spiritual returns even in my next birth. So I'm simply doing for my own selfish but spiritual gain. So thank you, Ambarish Maharaj Prabhu, for kindly engaging me in this service. I'm very, very happy to see you. I'm very, very happy to serve all of you. I don't know if I will be able to serve. I don't know after that introduction if I will be successful enough to please you and satisfy you spiritually. Please forgive me if I disappoint you after all the expectation is built, but I will try my bit. I promise. Thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namao Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Prasharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the king of all scriptures, and same chapter, 11th chapter, childhood pastimes of Krishna, text 36 onwards. So 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about the pastimes of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam in general speaks about the pastimes of the Lord, just like the Ramayana in 24,000 verses has spoken exclusively about Sri Ramachandra by Valmiki Muni. In that same mood of detailed description of the Supreme Lord, Srimad Bhagavatam reigns as the most authoritative scripture on Krishna Leela. Ramayana has 24,000 verses just on Ram, but Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses and it has all the Dashavatars include. The fish incarnation is also there, the tortoise incarnation is also there, the boar incarnation is also there, the half man, half lion, the Shingavatar is also there. And it's divided in 12 volumes, of which the 10th volume or the 10th canto has 90 chapters. And that exclusively deals with Krishna Leela, the pastimes of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam actually has about 335 chapters, of which 90 chapters deal only with Krishna. And 90 chapters in Krishna Leela is also divided. The first 30 chapters, or let's say the first 40 chapters are dealing with Krishna in Vrindavan. And then the remaining 50 chapters deal with Krishna in Mathura and Dwarka. This is how beautifully it has been laid out. The first listener of the Srimad Bhagavatam is a king by the name Maharaj Parikshit. And the most celebrated exalted speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the son of Vyasadeva himself by the name Shukadev Goswami. So these are some important details to know. It's for those who haven't heard of this text before. The whole text is in Sanskrit language by far one of the most simplest, easiest and most sweetest Sanskrit seen in comparison to the very tough, impenetrable Sanskrit of the four Vedas. Vyasadeva wrote the four Vedas, but then he was little disappointed with himself. He had done everything, but then there was something that was eating him up and inside, and he felt vacuum and vacancy. Then by the instruction of his Guru Maharaj, his teacher, Narada Muni, Vyasadeva composed his magnum opus, the final composition, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he keeps the Sanskrit very simple, very easy, very sweet, with multiple interpretations. There have been many celebrated commentators who have commented on these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they have given their own perspectives all of which are authentic, in proper line, all great Vaishnav self-realized souls. So we will see, between today and tomorrow, we will see a few nice verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. I plan to cover about 8 verses between today and tomorrow. We will see how Krishna drives the chariot of this Harikatha service. Ultimately, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches us that he is the one who drives the chariot of our plans. Arjuna thinks, now it's a connection point with the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna thinks that he is the one who's telling Krishna, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapayame Achyuta. Arjuna wanted his chariot to be placed between the two armies, and he used Krishna initially as a chariot driver. But then later, Arjuna realized that it's not he who should be driving the chariot of life. It's Krishna who should be driving the chariot, and he should simply be a passenger, agreeing to Krishna's movements. And when he realized that, that's when the actual Bhagavad Gita on the path of surrender began. So for about 30 minutes or so, we will have a discussion, and then I would really be very happy to hear from everyone in the form of reflections or questions or corrections or suggestions, the way Krishna guides it. So let's get started. This is Canto 10, Chapter 11, Text 36. You have the Devanagari Sanskrit script there with the transliteration, the word to word, and the overall translation and purport in English. This is all done by the founder of the International Society, the ISKCON world, Srila Prabhupada, who very lovingly yet painstakingly translated each word of the Srimad Bhagavatam so that we understand how to read it, we understand what the words mean, we understand what the general translation is, we also understand what the practical application of these verses are. So let's get started. I have a copy of my own here, so if you see me looking, it's actually the same copy that is being broadcast here or screen shared here. So Canto 10, Chapter 11, the childhood pastimes of Krishna, text 36. Vrindavanam Govardhanam Yamuna Pulinani cha Vikshyasit Uttama Priti Rama Madhavayo Nripa. Translation. O King Parikshit, now this is Shukadev Goswami speaking. O King Parikshit, when Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavan, Govardhan and the banks of the river Yamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. So just before the pastime of Vatsasura steps into the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is some background given by Shukadev Goswami under what circumstance Vatsasura came. So he mentions that this pastime is happening when Krishna is about between 3 and 4 years old. Very specifically between 3.5 and 4. That's when this pastime is happening as far as his age is concerned. We know the Damodar Leela, that is when Mother Yashoda tied Krishna around his belly with ropes of love to a wooden grinding mortar. That pastime took place when Krishna was about 3 years old. And that's chapter 9 and chapter 10 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is the next chapter. So we can assume and understand that this is between the age of 3 and 4. And the reason why I'm putting the constraint as 3 and 4 is because Krishna left Vrindavan, or let's say Krishna left, he was born in Gokul Mahavan, and then from there he moved to the land of Vrindavan when he was about 3 years and 4 months. So this is just after the moving has taken place. So we could very specifically even mention this is between 3 years and 4 months and let's say 4 years. So this is during those 6 to 8 months that this pastime has taken place. So till now Shukdev Goswami has described Krishna's appearance. He has described the killing of Putana. He has spoken about Shakatasur, the cart demon. He's spoken about Trinavarta. He's spoken about Krishna's beautiful, wonderful crawling pastimes. Janubhyam, Sahapanibhyam, Ringamano. Ringamano means to crawl. And how are Krishna and Balaram crawling? Janubhyam, saha panibhyam. Janubhyam means with their knees, and panibhyam which means their hands and their elbows. So they're crawling on their palms, they're crawling with their elbow, they're crawling on their knees and on their waist and on their belly and on their chest in the sometimes the dry and sometimes the wet mud of Vrindavan mixed with cow dung and cow urine and the waters of the Vrindavan forest because of the rain and all of these. When I say Vrindavan, it refers to Gokul Mahavan here in the baby pastimes. But then at 3 years and 4 months, they move out of Gokul Mahavan and they move to Vrindavan. And as they are traveling, as they are moving in like this travel is taking place. Shukdev Goswami mentions that they are all traveling by bullock carts. So in Vrindavan, when we visit, there is the main Chati Kara Marg on which our Krishna Balaram Mandir, like before you get to our temple, you have to enter the main Chati Kara Marg. That's the name of the place, the street. For those who have been there, we will relate. And for those who haven't, you will remember this when you will go there. I was almost going to say when we go there. I wish I can also join you, but even if I'm not able to come, whenever you go, you will remember that. The name is called Chati Kara Marg right now, but the original name in Sanskrit is Shakati Kara. Shakati Kara. Shakat means a cart, a bullock cart. So because Nanda Maharaj, his brothers, and Krishna Balaram, and everyone from Gokul Mahavan, they packed up all their stuff on bullock carts and they moved from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan on Shakat, on bullock cart. And this is the place where they parked all their bullock carts overnight. So when they saw, it was almost like a crescent moon formation of the bullock carts parked at night, because this is the place that took place. This is the place where that was parked. Therefore, that street was called Shakatikara, the place where the bullock carts were parked during the movement from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan. And now, with, of course, the influence of time, Shakatikara has become Chatikara. So why did they move? They moved because of the onslaught of so many demons coming in and endangering Krishna's life. So Nanda Maharaj and other brothers, they decided that we want to move out of this place and we want to go closer to the river Yamuna, because then it's a very powerful place, it's a very potent place. So we want to be there in such a way that Krishna can go and be next to Yamuna. The reason Yamuna is valued so much is because Yamuna's brother is Yami, or please forgive me, Yamuna is called Yami because of her brother who is Yamaraj. So Yama and Yami are brother-sister. So Yamaraj is the brother and Yami or Yamuna is the sister. And they kind of contrast each other because Yamaraj, he makes everybody's eyes close in death. But Yami or Yamuna, she makes everybody's eyes open spiritually. She makes sure that nobody dies, those who take shelter of her. This is why we see the mystery of Kaliya. Kaliya took shelter of Yamuna, and as a result, Krishna did not kill Kaliya. He killed all other demons, but he actually subdued Kaliya. He just asked Kaliya to leave because he had taken shelter of Yamuna. So anyone who takes shelter of Yamuna will be protected from the onslaught of Yamaraj. So therefore, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, they planned that Krishna, who's almost embracing and kissing death on a daily basis because of these demons, if he comes closer to Yamuna, then he will be protected and death will not strike. Although Krishna is beyond death, it's the affection in the heart of Nanda and Yashoda that they want to protect, and they want to secure the life of Krishna and Balaram. So after they have decided to move and they're all on the bullock cart, and as they are entering Vrindavan, that's when Shukdev Goswami chants this verse, and he says, Vrindavanam, Govardhanam, Yamuna Pulinanicha. Maybe the Sanskrit can be displayed so devotees can relate to the verse. So Shukdev Goswami says, as they are moving in to Vrindavan, what is happening? What are the different things that Krishna is seeing? Vrindavanam. So Shukdev Goswami is saying, as they are entering Vrindavan, what are the different things that they are seeing? They are seeing Vrindavan, they are seeing Govardhan, Vrindavan refers to the forest, Govardhan refers to the hill, and Yamuna Pulinani, the banks of the Yamuna. Pulina means bank, but here Pulinani, Bahuvachan is being used, which means multiple, plural has been used. Many banks of the Yamuna, because Yamuna flows long distance. So as they were traveling, they saw many banks. This is the banks of Yamuna. This is also the banks of Yamuna, like that. And Vrindavanam, the forest, and Govardhan, the beautiful, wonderful king of all mountains. And what did they do? Vikshya, Asit. Asit means they became, and Vikshya means they saw. Actually, in Sanskrit, the word ikshya means to see, but when a prefix vi is added, vi means very special, vishesha rupena. In a very special way, they saw asit. And what happened to them? Uttama priti. Priti means joy, and uttama means supreme. So they became supremely joyous. Who? Rama Madhavayoho. Rama refers to Balaram and Madhava refers to Krishna. So both of them became very, very happy as they're sitting on the bullock cart, and they have curtains covering the bullock cart behind the bullock. And as they're sitting, Krishna and Balaram, Mother Yashoda is showing through the curtain that, Balaram, do you see this? This is Govardhan. Krishna, do you see this? This is Jamuna. And they're all very happy. So Rama and Madhava, Balaram and Krishna. Madhava is Krishna and Rama is Balaram. Both of them, Asit, they got Uttama Priti. They got supreme joy just by looking at the scenes where they are relocating now, where they're moving. And Shukdev Goswami calls Parikshit Maharaj at this point as Nripa. So there are many, many secrets our acharyas give with respect to the different invocations in this verse. First and foremost, Uttama Priti. Priti means joy. And Uttama Priti means more joy or the highest. In Sanskrit, we have the comparative and superlative case. So Uttara means better and Uttama means the highest, the unparalleled. So they got unparalleled joy just by looking at Vrindavan, just by looking at Govardhan, just by looking at Yamuna, the banks of Yamuna. More and highest joy compared to what? So our acharyas mention that Krishna Balaram find more joy here compared to the Gokul Mahavan that they lived there. So there they got pleasure, but here they are getting Uttama Priti. There they got Priti, joy, but here Uttama Priti. Or in the spiritual world, they have Priti, they have joy. But when they come into this material world, they have Uttama Priti. They have more joy than before. Because when Srimati Radharani was being told by Krishna that I plan to come into this world, Krishna told Radharani that I plan to come into this world and I want you also to advent. So Radharani said, for me to come, 3 things are needed. This is there in the Garga Samhita. Radharani mentions to Krishna that if you want me to descend along with you, these 3 things are very important. I want this whole planet of Vrindavan to descend on the material world. Second, I want the hill of Govardhan to descend. And 3, I want the waters of Yamuna to descend. So when Krishna, he comes through the bullock cart and he sees these 3 things. He sees Vrindavan Dham, he sees Govardhan, and he sees Yamuna. At that time, he gets reminded of the promise that Srimati Radharani gave him, that if these 3 things descend from the spiritual world into the material world, then I will appear. Thinking of this, what happened? Krishna felt Uttama Priti. Now there is a hidden meaning here. The word Uttama is also one of the names of Radharani. So Vikshya Asit Uttama Priti. Krishna felt happy that very soon I will see Radharani here. Uttama. Also some commentators say the word Rama Madhavayo can also be split. One way to split it is Rama, Balaram, and Madhava, Krishna. Krishna Balaram. Or another meaning of breaking this word Rama Madhavayo is Rama plus Madhava. Rama is another name for Radharani and Madhava is the name for Krishna. So all the pastime places of Krishna, they give Krishna Priti, which remind him of his friends, those places which remind him of his parents, they all give him Priti. but the places where he has very sweet pastimes with Srimati Radharani, Rama Madhavayoho. The pastimes of Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupana Nam Pratikshana Aswadana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Well, I'm just doing my Mangalarti because it's time. But Shri Radhika Madhavayor Apara Madhurya Leela. Radharani and Sri Krishna perform very sweet pastimes at Vrindavan Dham, at Govardhan, and on the banks of Yamuna. And therefore, this site gives Uttama Priti to Krishna. Every site in Vrindavan gives him Priti, gives him joy. But this gives him first class pleasure, as Srila Prabhupada translates. So, Rama Madhavayo Nripa or Rama Madhavayo Nripa. That Krishna, although he's sitting with Balaram, and he's only 3.5 years old, but he is envisioning that these pastimes are going to witness, or these places are going to witness very sweet pastimes in the presence of Srimati Radharani. And also the word used is Nripa. There are multiple reasons why the word has been used. One reason is because Shukdev Goswami is teaching us when you speak, you have to keep calling out to your listener. Because it's possible that it's just the nature of Hari Katha that as we keep speaking, some or the other distraction may come in, or the mind may think about something else. Especially in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, distractions don't take place. But Shukdev Goswami is thinking that this is the 5th day out of the 7 days that are left. 2 more days and then Parikshit Maharaj has to leave. So is Parikshit Maharaj thinking about his departure, his leaving? Or is he thinking of Krishna and Balaram's leaving Gokul Mahavan to come into Vrindavan? So therefore he's just calling upon Nripa, O king, are you paying attention? Did you notice the sweetness of Krishna's moving into Vrindavan? Or another meaning of the word Nripa, Nrin Palayati iti Nripa, or Pati iti, either way. So Nrin means human beings, and Palayati or Pati means to protect, to take care. So just like a king goes out and takes care of his subjects, he likes to go outside his kingdom and to look around and see his subjects, and he feels joy that everything is going good. So Maharaj Parikshit, you can relate to this because you also as a king may have gone out of your kingdom and looked around your subjects and felt joy that everything is going good. Similarly, Nanda Maharaj and his future son, his future king, who's his son, that is Krishna, the future king of Vrindavan, he also being Nripa, being the king, he's finding supreme joy stepping out of his kingdom and looking around at his subjects, the trees, the birds, the animals, the flowers, the fruits, and all the wonderful residents of the forests of Vrindavan and at Govardhan and at Yamuna, and Uttama Priti Asit, and he's feeling supreme joy. So when we read and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, it's actually, those are painted pictures which give us, they are like the windows to the spiritual world, which give us instantaneous, spontaneous, and ever-sustained entrance into these beautiful, wonderful images and pastimes of the spiritual world. Let's see what happens next. Text 37. As they are moving in, we will see what happens. How much pleasure they give in text 37. Evam vrajauka sampritim yacchantau balacheshtitaihi kala vakyai swakalena vatsapalau babhuvatuhu. Translation by Prabhupada. In this way, Krishna and Balaram, acting like small boys, talking in half-broken language, gave transcendental pleasure to all the inhabitants of Vraja. In due course of time, they became old enough to take care of the calves. So we'll see the words. Very beautiful. So Shukdev Goswami says, Evam, that as they are moving in, they not just felt happy themselves looking at Vrindavan and Govardhan and Yamuna, but Vraja okasam pritim yachanto. What we have is what we can give, right? If someone is not happy, they can act They can fake as if they're happy and even give motivational talks that think positive, think optimistic, you have it in you. When you wake up, ask yourself, we can we can come up with all that. But at the end of the day, if we don't have it, we can give it. Very simple. If we don't have it, we can give it. If I don't have $1 million, I can't give in charity $1 million. I'll go bankrupt. So, connection from 36 to 37 is Evam vraja okasam pritim yachanto. Pritim is the same word used in 36 and 37. Shukdev Goswami is saying that yachanto, in Sanskrit, the word yachati or dattavan, here in this case, yachanto means to give. But it's used in the dual sense. So Krishna and Balaram both gave what? Pritim. They gave joy. To whom? Vraja Okasam. Vraja means Vrindavan and Okasam means residence. So Krishna and Balaram were not just happy looking at Vrindavan and Govardhan and Yamuna. They were also sharing that happiness that was rising in their heart with all the residents. Evam, in this way, as they were becoming happier, they were also sharing that happiness and making everyone around happy. How are they making them happy? Two words have been used. Bala cheshtitaihi, kala vakyaihi. Both of this have been used in the plural sense. Tritiya vibhakti bahuvachan has been used in Sanskrit, which means bala cheshtitaihi. Bala means childhood and cheshtitam means activities. By their and multiple, the context of multiplicity is used here, or plural usage has been used here, that by their baby activities, bala cheshtitaihi, by their very sweet, wonderful baby pastimes or baby activities, and very specifically kala vakyaihi. Kala means sweet and vakyam means words. By their sweet baby talk and baby walk, Krishna and Balaram, swakalena, with time, they babhuvatuhu, they also became vatsapalo. You see in Sanskrit, when the dual sense has to be used, it ends with au, especially in the masculine sense. So when you have to say Krishna became Vatsapala, the word would be Vatsapalaha. But now when the dual usage has been used, both Krishna and Balaram, Vatsapalo. And when you have to say everybody became Vatsapala, Vatsa means calf and Pala means to protect and take care. So just like we have the word Gopal, Go means cows and Pala means to protect and take care. But when the cows are small, they are calves. So the protectors are not called Gopal, but they're called Vatsapal. So multiple Vatsapalaha, Gopalaha, Gopalakaha, etc. But here in English, of course, you have the single tense and then you have the plural. So two is also considered to be plural, more than one. But in Sanskrit, you have one, two, and more than two. So here, in this case, the two sense has been used. Yachantau, Vatsapalo. So in this way, the happiness that they gained in their heart, they shared it with everyone around. Bala cheshtitaihi, with their very sweet baby activities. And kalavakyaihi, with their very sweet talking. Krishna, who can speak so wonderfully, he can chant 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita in less than an hour on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That Krishna is struggling to speak and struggling to express himself. And when he's expressing himself, he's not having all the words. So his facial expressions are doing the remaining fill-in of the meaning. And Balaram is also adding. And Krishna and Balaram, when they're crawling with their hands and knees on Mother Earth, it's almost telling the whole world that we have come here in this world. Jayatu Jayatu Devo Devaki Nandanoyam Jayatu Jayatu Krishno Vrishni Vamsha Pradeepah Jayatu Jayatu Megha Shyamala Komalango Jayatu Jayatu Prithvi Bharanasho Mukundaha. So Krishna and Balaram are called Prithvi Bharanasho. They have come to reduce the burden of Mother Earth. And how do they reduce the burden of Mother Earth? By crawling, by walking, by running. Let's say the mother has backache. So what does she tell the child? Can you walk on my back? When the child is, of course, a little one. Can you walk on my back? So when the baby with the little feet walks on the back of the mother even gives a sigh of relief. Yes, very good. Keep going, right? It's out of happiness. So Mother Earth is the mother, and she's having back pain, backache, because of the weight of the sinful kings like Kamsa who were present at that time. So when Krishna and Balaram are walking and they are crawling on the back of Bhumi Devi, then Mother Earth feels a lot of relief. Prithvi Bharanasha Mukunda. Krishna reduces the burden of Mother Earth just by walking on her back. When Krishna eats dirt, he eats the dust of Vrindavan. Mrid Bhakshan Leela. So Acharya's comment um, that Krishna wanted to reduce the burden of Mother Earth. So he thought maybe the burden is because of all of this mud. So if I start eating mud with both my hands, maybe the burden on Mother Earth's back will reduce. So Balaram goes and complains to Mother Yashoda that the act of reducing the burden of Mother Earth from her back is wonderful. But please tell Krishna it is not to be done by eating dirt on her back. By eating, few grams of Vraj Raj every day with both hands, the thousands and thousands of kilos of mud on her back will not be able to, you can't alleviate Mother Earth of that pain. So tell Krishna this is not the right way to reduce her burden. But however, by walking on her back, running on her back, even crawling on her back, Krishna is giving her a back massage. Balaram is giving very beautiful, wonderful comfort. So balacheshtitaihi and kalavakyaihi. By their walking, by their talking, by the tinkling of their ankle bells, by the tinkling of their waist bells, by the way they are eating, by the way they are glancing, by the things that they pick, all of this gave a lot of pleasure to the Vrajvasis. Evam Vrajaukasam Pritim Yachantau Balacheshtitaihi Kalavakyaihi. And in no time, Swa Kalena, Kala means time, Swa means taking their own time, Babhu Vatuhu, they became Vatsapalav. They became big enough, strong enough, intelligent enough to take care of calves in Vrindavan. Not so much with the cows, but with the calves definitely. The cows in the 15th chapter, 4 chapters from now, we can see that Krishna becomes Gopal. Tatascha Shaure, Tatascha Pauganda Vayashritau Vraje Babhu Vatastau Pashupala Sammatau Gashcharayantau Sakhibhi Samambritam Vrindavanam Punyam Ativa Chakratuhu. There Shukdev Goswami in the 15th chapter he mentions how Krishna turns 6 years old. And as birthday present, birthday gift, he says, I only want to take care of cows. Because I am taking care of calves for some time and the calves are growing up. In 4 years that I am taking care of calves, from the age of let's say 2, 3 to the age of 6 that I'm taking care, the calves have become cows now. Now you're saying that I shouldn't take care of cows because they're big. So they also want me. So then Krishna and Balaram, they convince Nanda and Yashoda and they become Gopal. But at this point, they are Vatsapal. We'll see what happens in 38. Let's read the next verse. Avidure vrajabhuvaha Saha Gopaladarkaihi. I'll read it again because devotees just saw the verse. Avidure vrajabhuvaha Saha Gopaladarkaihi Charayam asatur vatsan Nana krida parichhadau. Translation by Prabhupada. Not far away from their residential quarters, both Krishna and Balaram, equipped with all kinds of playthings, played with other cowherd boys and began to tend the small calves. We will see the Sanskrit now. Let's see what's happening. Shukdev Goswami says, as they started taking care of the calves, Charayam asatu vatsan. The calves love to eat. Charayam asatu. They like to eat grass, soft grass. Vatsan, Bahuvachan Prayog has been used. Many, many calves were there. Actually, Nanda Maharaj has 900,000 calves. So that's 9,99,999 cows. One short of 10 lakh. So you can imagine how many of them would have calves, how many calves. So Vatsan, Bahuvachan Prayog has been used. Krishna and Balaram were entrusted the service of taking care of the calves. And Saha Gopala Darakaihi. Gopala Darakai means other cowherd friends. Saha means along with. Along with other cowherd friends, what would they do? Charayam asatu vatsan. They took their calves for grazing. Where? Vraja bhuvaha Avidure. Now, our acharyas, our commentators on the Srimad Bhagavatam, they have given, especially Srila Sanatan Goswami in his Brihad Vaishnav Toshni Tika has written something very beautiful for the word Avidure. He says Avidure is broken very beautifully. So everyone can lovingly pay attention here. Dure means far away. As we say in Marathi, in Hindi, dur chala gaya. Dur means far away. But then the prefix there is vi. Vi means vishesha rupena, in a very special way, which heightens the effect of the word dur. Dur means far. Vi, dur means very far away. Very far. And a is negation. So a vidure means not very far away. So this can be broken in two ways actually. Either not very close or not very far. In Sanskrit, avidure can be translated as not very far or not very close, either way. So Vraja Bhuvaha means the home, the village of Vrindavan. Shukdev Goswami is very careful when he uses the words in the language of the Srimad Bhagavatam. When he has to refer to the forest, he uses the word Vrindavan. And when he has to use the context of the village where they are living, not the forest where the animals are, not the wild animals, but the sweet Vrajvasi animals like the peacocks and the deer, etc., and the beautiful birds, the cuckooing of the birds. Of course, they're also present in the village because Krishna is present here. But there are ones in the forest which wait for Krishna to leave the village, his home, and come into their home. So whenever Shukdev Goswami has to say forest, he uses the word Vrindavan. And when he has to give the context of his village, Krishna living with Nanda and Yashoda, he says Vrajabhumi. So here he says Vrajabhuvaha, which means the village where they were living. And from there, Avidure, not very far, and at the same time not very close also. Saha Gopaladarakaihi, along with his friends, Krishna and Balaram, what did they do? Charayam asatuhu vatsan. They took all their calves to graze. So with respect to not very close and not very far, some things have been mentioned. Srila Sanatan Goswami, in his commentary, he gives the word Sukha Vihara Siddhyartham. Sukha Vihara Siddhyartham. Siddhyartham means for the fulfillment. And Sukha Vihara means pleasure in vihar, in enjoying around. So Srila Sanatan Goswami mentions that if Krishna and Balaram were very close to their home, then the grass there is not very good. The grass betters as they go far away from the village, closer to the forest. So the calves personally enjoy that fresh grass closer to the forest and not so close to the home. So therefore, avidure, not very close. Not very close. For the calves' benefit, they want to go away from the village, little far away from the village, so that they can enjoy the fresh, green, soft grass. And even for themselves, Sukha Vihara Siddhyartham, if they are very close to their village, they won't have the independence to play around, because somebody from the village will keep an eye. And or Mother Yashoda may come and Nanda Baba may come and tell Krishna and Balaram, oh, don't do this, don't do that, come here, don't go under the sun, don't play there, don't climb the tree. So then that'll kind of be, let's say, a constraint, an obstacle in their Swachhanda Vihar, in their free-flowing pastime. So Shukdev Goswami says, not very close to the village. Because for the calves, they don't get as good grass close to the village as they would get close to the forest. And even for the boys, Sukha Vihara Siddhyartham, so that they can enjoy without any parental supervision. And at the same time, not very far away. Why? Because they wanted to be close to the village also. Why? Because parents had mentioned, no going far away, Krishna. Krishna and Balaram, if you go far away, your geography is so poor, you will not come home. You will get lost. So play close to the village. And at the same time, from a practical perspective, if there is an emergency, let's say there is an emergency, let's say there are demons who come in, if they're not able to fight, Krishna and Balaram can at least run home quickly if they're closer to their home. Also, another benefit is if they have to come home to get some ball or some stick or something to play with, if they're closer to the home, to the village, then they can run quickly and get their Krida Samagri. Krida Samagri means the paraphernalia for play. And then in this way they can frolic. So, Avidure Vrajabhuvaha, not very close because of independence, at the same time because of the fresh grass for the calves, and at the same time not very, very far away, just so that in emergency they can run home or they can come home for getting in some paraphernalia, some ball or some bat, just like students, children also do when they play. I have done that in my childhood, and I'm pretty sure everyone does that. They come home in the middle of their play to drink water or get a bat or get a ball, etc. So in this way, they are doing, but they are going there for the calves to. It seems as if they're going there to graze the calves, to tend, so that the calves can graze and they can tend, they can take care of the calves closer to the grass. It seems like that is their priority, but it is not. What is their first priority? Shukdev Goswami says, Nana Krida Parichhadau. They took all their krida samagri. They took their paraphernalia for play, and this is their first priority. The first priority for Krishna, Balaram, and all the friends is their play. And then, as they are busy playing, the calves are busy grazing. They are busy eating the grass. So calves, they are pretty independent. They can work wherever there's fresh, green, soft grass. They will eat. The boys don't have to micromanage them. They will take care. Another interpretation is calves and cows. They are of the same breed, so they're called as go. But go also refers to our senses. So wherever there is green grass of material enjoyment, there is no micromanagement needed. The senses can very freely graze in the green grass of this world. But then what happens? We see later in Srimad Bhagavatam, when the senses, like cows, keep grazing on the green grass of enjoyment of this world, then in no time they realize that they are in a forest fire. And then they have to call out to Krishna with tears, and Krishna has to come and drink and swallow the forest fire. That's another pastime, but it's a very important connection here. So the friends have taken all their samagri to play, and the calves are busy eating the grass. And at that time, we will pause at this junction. We will let Krishna, Balaram, and their friends go on this journey, not very close and not very far away, with all their playful things and their krida samagri. Nana krida parichhadav. Krida means to play, nana means different types. So as far as their clothing is concerned, as far as their bats and balls and different things that they play with is concerned, they have taken all of that and they're walking. Now, what are the different things that they play in the forest? We will mention that tomorrow to start with. And amidst their play is the entrance of Vatsasura. So if we directly mention Vatsasura without the context, we won't understand the severity, the emotional severity Vatsasura's present and the whole ghastly scene got in the life of the friends of Krishna. But when we show how happy they were and how much sweetness is taking, the burst of sweetness in their life, and then this calf, outsider calf comes in, then everything falls in place. So we'll pause at this point. Tomorrow we will continue from 39 to the next few verses till the deliverance of Vatsasura. So I hope everybody could envision Krishna and Balaram with their friends and with their calves entering into Vrindavan, and such beautiful descriptions given by Shukdev Goswami. So I'll pause here. If there are any questions, corrections, suggestions, improvements, whatever you feel like adding, I am very happy to hear from all of you. If you have any feedback also, please don't be hesitant. Please feel free to share. So because it's a 2-day thing, if there is something that you felt didn't work for you today, feel free to let me know. I will try to change it for tomorrow and serve you better. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Thank you very much, Amarendra Prabhuji. It was a very wonderful description of Vrindavan pastime that was going on. And with your words, you created this window to the spiritual world for all of us, the hearers. So thank you very much for that. So we'll take some questions from Kirtivanta Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dharma pranams.
Dandavat pranam.
Prabhuji, at the beginning, you mentioned that Yama and Yami are brother and sister. So now my understanding is Yamraj is also, he's in charge. So he has a limited lifespan. So he changes after a certain lifespan, like all the demigods. So is that relationship between Yamunamata and Yamraj, is that based on the position or the individual? And so does that relationship change when the lifespan of Yama and Yami is over?
Very good question. Actually, both of them appeared from the Surya Dev, the sun god. That was during Dwapar Yuga. When Yamuna Maharani's appearance took place, it came from the sun god. Therefore, she is called Mam Punatu Sarvada Arvinda Bandhu Nandini. She is called Arvinda Bandhu Nandini. Arvinda means lotus, Bandhu means friend. So the friend of the lotus is the sun, and Nandini means daughter. So that is how the relation is as far as their appearance in this world is concerned. But as far as the spiritual world is concerned, Yamaraj is such a great devotee that he doesn't have to serve in the spiritual world. His service is in the material realm. So when she manifests in the material realm, she takes the position of his sister.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Are there any other further questions for today? Prema Prayojana Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, you mentioned that Srimati Radharani put condition to Lord Krishna that Govardhan, Yamuna should be here and Vrindavan should be here in the spiritual world. In many classes, we get to hear that it's just a reflection here of the spiritual world. So can you please elaborate on that one?
So what is the exact point of clarification? Like, is it?
No, is it a reflection or is it exactly?
Oh, the exact manifestation, not the reflection. This is the difference between the dham and the things outside, because things outside are anyway a reflection of the spiritual world. Even Mumbai, the influence you see is, Krishna mentions in the 15th chapter very beautifully that this is Urdhva Moolam and Adha Shakham. So the material world in itself is a reflection of the spiritual world. If the dham is also just a reflection, then what is the difference? It is the Sakshat Swarup. In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami in the Shat Sandarbhas, he calls the dham as a big Shaligram Shila. Like, for example, if there is a Shaligram Shila in the room, a small one, we will offer obeisances because he is non-different manifestation of Krishna. So Jiva Goswami says the dham, like Vrindavan dham, is actually a big Shaligram Shila, manifestation of the Supreme Lord, inside whom we enter. So he is non-different from the Vastavik Vangmay Swarup of the Supreme Lord.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pundrikaksha Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Amarendra Prabhuji, Dhanot Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much for your association, Prabhuji. We are so lucky to have you again after a long time. Prabhuji, I know you have explained very nicely about Uttama Priti, how this Vrindavan is Uttama Priti for Krishna. But I have a small confusion there because Bhagavad Gita says, Dukkalayam Ashashvatam for this material world. But here, Krishna is saying it's Uttama Priti. So how can we understand that, Prabhuji? Can you please?
That is meant for everything outside Vrindavan. Vrindavan Dham is spiritual world. So just to continue from the previous question into this question, Prabhuji's question, the previous devotee's question was, is the Bhauma Vrindavan or the Vrindavan that is found in this world, is it just a reflection of the spiritual world or is it the actual spiritual world? The answer is it is the actual spiritual world. However, there is a specific lens to see this Vrindavan, and that is Bhav, consciousness. Like, for example, I'll give you a relatable example. There are small shoes of a baby, of a child, and every parent has seen those shoes, right? Belonging to your children, small ones. Someone who doesn't have a child, they will also see those shoes in your house. And the mother of the child will also see those shoes. Child is not around. Child is not around. Just the toys are around and the shoes are around. When person from outside, he comes and sees, he will see the shoe, he will see the bag, he will see the toys, but he will not see it the way the mother sees it. Because the mother, when she sees the toys and when she sees the shoes, she doesn't just see the shoes. The shoes and the toys reflect her inner affection for her child. And then she can get maddened into ecstasy. Let's say, um, you know, God forbid, nothing happens. Let's say the child is not keeping well. That's those same shoes or those same toys with which the child used to play so much. Now, if the child is bedridden because of a fever or something, the mother will cry looking at those toys and cry looking at those shoes. But someone from outside, he doesn't feel happiness before and doesn't feel any sadness now because he just sees the shoe, but he doesn't see the person behind the shoe. Another example given would be that of an X-ray. So when there's an X-ray report, those who are doctors on the call will understand. When there's an X-ray report, a fool like me will look at the report and he will not understand anything. But when a doctor sees through the same report, he will see and he will say, there is a crack here, there is this here, there is there. So I am also seeing the same X-ray report and the doctor is also seeing the same X-ray report. But because the inner knowledge and the understanding of the report is better for the doctor, his vision is better. And same goes with Vrindavan Dham. So people of different consciousness can enter Vrindavan Dham. But depending on their consciousness, depending on their love for Krishna, depending on their knowledge of the scriptures is how their vision is very wonderfully painted. For those whose vision are tainted, they will not be able to see. But those whose visions are painted with love, they will be able to see. So therefore, now just to add to your question as the response, that Vrindavan Dham is non-different from the spiritual world. There is Vrindavan Dham there is Vrindavan Dham here, and there is a Vrindavan Dham playing in the heart of a Vaishnav, pure Vaishnav. Tumara Hridaye Sada Govinda Vishram. And it is described, Vrindavanam Parityajya Padam Ekam Nagachati. Krishna does not take one step out of Vrindavan. Because everywhere outside is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, no doubt. Mumbai, Delhi, Wellington, everything Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. However, the congregational programs that you're doing is actually a satellite center of Vrindavan Dham. This is why everyone, even in Wellington and in Christchurch, prefers not to be in the outside influence of the city, but to be in connection with the programs, because that's actually a connection of Vrindavan. So Vrindavan can give pleasure to Krishna, so why not us? Outside, it is Dukkhalayam. But in Vrindavan, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate Vidhi Mahendradi Shakitayate. It's very, very joyous and blissful. Is that okay?
Very well. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I would like to say thank you very much for all the videos, Prabhuji, because now we are getting immensely benefited from your videos. And many times I copy paste. I know, like I repeat your words. Some of the places whenever I got an opportunity to talk, I just repeat.
The good news is they are not my words. I am very happy to be an instrument. My Guru Maharaj has spoken these Hari Katha, and I have just been fortunate and happy to hear it, study them, and get instructed by him to repeat. So whatever you are hearing, I just want to play with one more metaphor here. When there is a microphone, then there's also a loudspeaker. So the speaker is speaking through the microphone, but the loudspeaker is where the sound is heard. So I am not the speaker, I am the loudspeaker from where the sound is coming. But the microphone as the actual speaker is the Guru Parampara. Thank you.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Hari.
We'll take one more last question possibly from Bharadwaj Rishi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, excellent lecture, and really, like Amrish Prabhuji said, it's a window to Vrindavan. Really nice. And when we last time went there, we really missed that window, when we went to Vrindavan. But now we are like, just recollecting those memories. Prabhuji, one question. See, when we go to Vrindavan, we see all different types of people there. There are pure devotees. There are so many Maharajas, and so many different types. but we always think that even a monkey there is, if it is born in Vrindavan, it is like it is born for a reason, like it is it has some reason behind it. So how do we understand, like what mood should we have, like when we go to Vrindavan, like we see different types of people, like should we it's like it reminds of us of material aspects. So what filter should we put to get rid of that?
Yes, actually, although we understand that the monkeys and the pigs of Vrindavan are also transcendental, they are associates of Krishna in the Dham, but the recommended process is not to associate with them, right? Although we understand the monkeys are associates of the Lord, still that is to respect them, not to hit them with a stone, not to shoot them down with a gun, not to put crackers at their tail, not to give them anything wrong to eat, right? For that understanding, the clause is their associates, so don't trouble them. Serve them if they are hungry. Let's say during the corona time, nobody is walking in Vrindavan. Now, of course, it is, but when there was extreme lockdown, so there was nobody feeding the monkeys any bananas. So many of them were dying out of hunger because of the heat of Vrindavan and the heat of hunger. So many devotees went around feeding monkeys and nuts and things like that. So there the context is, yes, they are associates, we should serve them. But as far as resonating consciousness is concerned, the answer is absolutely no. Absolutely no. So same filter goes even with devotees, or let's say with human beings. If someone in their association, you get reminded of the material world, respect them, but don't closely associate with them. But by being with someone, your heart is getting drenched. Srila Jiva Goswami uses the term Krishna Seva Vasana. Krishna Seva Vasana. Krishna means Krishna, Seva means service, and Vasana means desire. By being with someone, if the desire to serve Krishna increases, the desire to chant and hear increases, then definitely that is a person to be respected and associated with. Sushrushaya bhajana vidnyam ananyamanya nindadi shunyam ridam ipsita sangalabdham. Rupa Goswami has said that if someone is initiated, let's say someone is chanting the holy name, not initiated, but is still little prapanchi. They are chanting Hare Krishna, but they talk about, he shouldn't have done like this, why she did like this. So then this is considered to be third class devotee. Because you have to understand, at the gate of the university, there are those who are just entering, and then there are those who are just exiting also. There are those who have just enrolled, and then there are those who are just graduated. So we should be at the gate, no doubt, but not associate so much who have just enrolled, because they abhi tak wo university ka rang chada nahi unme. But those who have just graduated, the madhyam and the uttam are those whom we should willingly associate with. But we should respect everybody. If they're chanting Hare Krishna, we respect them. If they're initiated, we closely associate with them. But if they are free from fault finding, Sushrushaya, they are very surrendered to the spiritual master. Bhajana Vidnya, they are expert in chanting the holy name and studying Shastra. And Nindadi Shunya, they have no mentality to criticize anybody. Then Sangalabdham, then such are the persons you should closely associate with, even in the Dham.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amarendra Prabhuji. Prabhuji, depending on your time that you have available, there are two more questions, or should we actually park them for tomorrow? You tell.
We can very quickly take both of them.
Okay, fine. So, Sudharma Mataji, Sudharma Prabhu, one of you have this question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for the very nice lecture. Prabhuji, my question is, this pastime is happening when Krishna was just 3.5 to 4 years old. But how come he, like Yashoda Mai or Nanda Baba is allowing them to go on 10 cows? Like, we are comparing, of course, in this present age, like we would be sending even our child out at this age, but they are sending them, and you have mentioned like not too far or not too long. That's the exact word they have been, you have used, Shukadeva Goswami has used. So how can they be like sending the so young child to be doing this type of, work?
This is a devotee, but at the same time, this is a mother asking a question. So actually, the age is pretty relative if we understand. In Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga, at different ages, we can't compare the 3 years or 4 months, 3 years, 4 months, or 4 years of Kali Yuga with the 3 years, 4 months, or 4 years of Treta, Dwapar, or Satya. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained again that Krishna was growing up at almost twice his age, at the rate of twice his age. So this is why at the age of 7, when children have a tough time lifting up their books and studying, Krishna was able to lift a hill, which even human beings cannot, right? So he was almost having the strength of a 15-year-old. Then the question could be, when Krishna is about 10 years old, he is with Srimati Radharani. So how can a 10-year-old kid be with Srimati Radharani? Because he was almost 20 years old at that time. So in this way, we can understand, although he was about 3 or 4 years old, as far as his age is concerned, his speed of growing up in Dwapar Yuga and even as the Supreme Lord was about 7 or 8 years old. And of course, at 7 or 8, with like-minded friends and with protective calves around, with Balaram around, and Krishna having proved, or he has proven his strength and his intelligence by defeating so many demons in the past, that gives a lot of confidence to the parents that अगर नंद महाराज शेर हैं तो बच्चा भी शेर ही होगा.
Nice. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, it looks like your answer has answered the other question as well. Looks like the hand has gone down. But was that by mistake, or do you still have any question, Mataji?
I think that hand was up to slap me.
Not at all.
But it's nice that so many hands are coming up. I feel very, very happy that devotees are attentively hearing and even remembering the words. So Mataji now quoted Avidure. So very nice. Bhagavatam should be studied. Jao Bhagavata Pado Vaishnavera Sthane Ekanta Ashraya Karo Chaitanya Charane Chaitanyara Bhakta Gana Nitya Karo Sangha Tathapi Janiya Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. Chaitanya Charitamrita has described the way to make spiritual advancement is to study Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees by taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all of you are doing all three. So that means I will come again tomorrow to associate with you, and hopefully you will give me your time and your affection.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. And we are looking forward to the second part of this pastime tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
very
cannot,
much.
of course, I cannot see Ananga Manjari Mataji. So
She
please
is
pass
still
on.
here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam Prabhu.
Oh yes, now I can see. Now I can see. Okay. I wanted to ask Prabhuji right in the start, but I felt little, uncomfortable to ask. But at the end, thank you, Mataji. I hope you're doing good also. Thank you. Nice to see both of you after such a long time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for kindly participating. We will see you tomorrow also. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Amarendra Prabhu ji ki jai.
Jai.
Gauriya Guru
Thank you
Varga
so much,
ki
Prabhuji.
jai.
Hare Krishna.